Come and let's talk, real people, real funny, real deep, passionate, Jesus loving unapologetically, safe but savage. Safe but savage.
Hey guys, I know it's been a while, but welcome to Save but Savage podcast, where we are saved, we believe in the Holy Spirit, we believe in salvation, but we are also going to be savage about having brutal and honest conversations. And so today, I have a friend here. Say hello, Kathy.
Hey, hey.
You've seen Kathy in the past, but today we're going to have a conversation. So in the past, we talked about community, we've talked about soul ties. Today, we're going to mesh it together. And I promise you, we're going to try to be a little more consistent on this. It's been a crazy year. We've had retreats. We've had conferences. We were doing a church plant. So we're doing a whole lot of things. But I really want to stay consistent in this. I want to be able to whatever seed the Lord gives me, I want to be faithful with it. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this. So whether I have guests, whether I do it alone, whether I do it with guests that are far or near, we're going to continue to do this. But today, we're going to talk about friendships. So I know that everybody has different standards of what it looks like to actually have friendships, right? My standards not going to look like yours and yours is not going to look like mine. However, across the line, I feel like there's rules, there's boundaries, there's things that we should all understand in a friendship. So let me ask you this, Kathy. What does it look like to you to be a good friend?
So that depends on how close we are in friendship, right? Are you in my inner circle? My standards in my inner circle are going to be different. There's two standards. One may be shallow, the other not so much that I hold. One thing I don't tolerate is lying. Dishonesty. I feel like if you can't be honest with me, then we really have zero foundation. So that's one thing that I'm very firm on is honesty and transparency. The shallower of the two is our friendship's not gonna last if you're always late. Like I am a sucker when it comes to being on time. It really gets on my nerves when I'm late because I'm always in a rush, right? I feel like so much of my time is taken up doing so many things. So when I give you my time, I want you to be on time and respect my time because it's valuable.
Sure.
Sure.
So people that are within your inner circle, those are the two big ones that you think like, hey, for me, standard wise, like if you are a good friend, this is one of the ones and this is another one. Or you feel like you have more.
Those would be my two across no matter what level of friendship we have.
Okay.
Is honesty and punctuality. I feel like if it's important, you'll be there and you'll be on time. But the closer you get to my circle, I think it's more of I want friends who I can have tough conversations with.
Okay.
I don't want friends who are always going to tell me I'm right, who are always going to agree with me. I'm never going to grow if every poor decision I make is validated.
Sure.
Rather than someone who's going to push me or stretch me to make different decisions, to see situations differently. So in my inner circle, communication is huge. Like you have to be able to tell me when I'm wrong. Right. And I'm totally okay with that.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So within the inner circle, that would be some of yours.
Absolutely.
The big ones. And I think let's kind of break it down a little bit because I don't think people realize it. So I actually preached on this, now it's almost 2 years ago in Texas. I talked about the outer circle, the inner circle. So I feel like there's like three circles. Like right? There's the bigger circle, there's a middle circle that goes in the inside, and then there's a smaller, tinier circle within that circle. The inner circle would be your close friends, the people that you walk with, the people that you talk with, the people you can have fights with, and they're not gonna just be like bye because we had a fight, right? Those are the people that know you inside and out, those people that you can be vulnerable with, right? And then there's the outer circle, which would be people that are not as close to you, but they know you. They know what you're going through. They pray for you. They sit with you. They're living life with you, right? And then there's the people in the outer circle, which is the people that basically just coming into your life and they kind of stay in, they come in, not going out, in and out, but it doesn't matter really. Sure. Not that it doesn't affect you, but it doesn't affect you as much because they're very casual friendships. Right. So you're not going to get offended if they don't call you back. You're not going to get offended if they're not going to be there for every game and whatever recital that your children or you have. So I wanted to just kind of explain that's kind of what the circles look like. And it's not something biblical. It's something that we've kind of observed from the psychology of people, like how people act, right? Sure. We tend to do that. And even, but Jesus did do it. I would say that.
Yeah, I was going to say it might not be biblical, but it is kind of shadowed there, right? With his disciples. Yeah. He has his close one, then he has his close few, then he has his 12. And then you can go even further where he invites us all in. Right. You know. So.
And then they had all the people that used to follow him.
Right.
Because they wanted something out of him.
Right.
So I wanted to touch on that because I'm like, we can literally describe friendship. We can describe our circles just by having that conversation just within the circles. For me personally, I think loyalty for me is it's important. We kind of talked about that a little bit. And when I mean by loyalty, I don't mean like, if I don't like someone, I don't want you to like that person. I actually think that's stupid.
I agree.
I'm like, okay, just because I had that experience with someone doesn't mean a lived experience doesn't mean you're going to have that lived experience. So, and I also feel like it's a form of manipulation for me to be like, well, if you're going to be loyal to me, then you can't like that person. Right. I feel like it's a form of manipulation and control. And I don't think that's a healthy friendship. Correct. When someone has done that. Right. But loyalty in a sense of, look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. But if I am right and you don't stand up for me or you don't stand by me when things are happening, that's a problem for me.
No, I agree. I think your friends have to be able to, help you grow, like iron sharpens iron, right? Like, right. And I think when we think about loyalty, we think, oh, I'm going to have your back all the time, no matter what. And I've told you before, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Sure. If you're wrong, I'm going to tell you you're wrong. No. What I won't allow to happen is for someone to disrespect you because you're wrong, right? Sure. So in that way, I'm still going to have your back and I'm still going to be loyal because I'm going to say, hold on, she might not have been right, but we're not going to do that, right? So I can have your back in saying like, hey, I don't agree with your choice, whatever, and still be loyal to you, right? Like sometimes we think like if we disagree, loyalty's out the window. Well, no, like it would be boring if we all agreed all the time.
Right. I also, like, cause I talked about it even in our Bible study one time. I was like, here's the thing. I don't believe, there's this saying that said, that blood is thicker than water. You remember that? You know what I'm talking about? Yep. That basically is saying like, no matter what, you stick to family. That's basically what the saying means. But that also means that even if they're wrong, you stick with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's gang mentality. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, you have no choice regardless. They don't have to show up for you, but you got to show up for them. And, you know, I say most of my friends have become family because they've shown me through loyalty that I can depend on them no matter what, which is what your family should be. Sure. So.
And you choose each other. Yeah. Right? And so that's what family is to me as well. But I don't agree with that saying though. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I even told my kids, I'm like, I don't care if you're my child, my husband, I don't care who you are. If you are wrong and you are standing on the side of something that is not correct, especially on the, according to the word of God and according to the eyes of God, I'm not defending you for being wrong. Right. I'm gonna correct you for being wrong. Okay. Right. Whether that's an issue, I don't care what it is. Right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And I am not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to defend her. She was correct. No. We ain't doing that. We're not doing that. So, I will say that, but loyalty to me it's important, but also, just showing up. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think to me, those are the top ones. People being there, and not leaving, because I've dealt with rejection in my life and abandonment from people. And I went to a point that I was like, forget this. Like, I don't have to be dealing with this. I'll do it by myself. I'll do it alone. I'll be fine by myself anyway. But the reality is we need people. Mm-hmm. And we need each other. But that's a big deal to me. If people can literally get up and leave just out of nowhere because you had a conversation, because you had a disagreement, because whatever, you had a fallout, whatever, I don't care what it is. If people are in my inner circle, it's because I've allowed you to get all the way in there.
Sure.
And if I allow you to be there, it's because I expect you to stay there. Not because you're like, oh, I'm just going to get out whenever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think you and I both are toxic in the sense that we hold on. We will give you chance after chance after chance to our own detriment.
Absolutely.
You know? And so I, to my own detriment, have given chance after chance to people who showed me who they were, you know? But I have a hard time with just letting people go, you know? Which is a strength as well because I'm loyal to a fault. You know, I'm going to have your back, ride or die. If I got $5, we got $5. And I've always, you know, lived my life that way.
Yeah.
And I found that as I got older and older, there's not that many people who legitimately look at life like that. They don't look at relationships like that, except for the relationship they have with their spouse.
And you know what, I was even like thinking about it before we sat down. I was like, you know, there's a verse in Matthew that talks about that the love of many would grow cold, right? But in that love growing cold, there also will be selfishness that is growing rampant. And I feel that even in the church, it's affecting the church, but it's affecting people's friendships. Yeah. It's affecting how people commune with each other. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like we are so much. It's all about us. It's all about what what can someone do for me? Me. But at the same time, it can't just be them. Yeah. And then you don't take care of yourself at all. Because, like you just said, like I've put my mental health in places I shouldn't because I want to be a good friend. Right. And I put myself in the situations and I don't think it's fair. Yeah. And the older that I get, the more I'm like, it's not even selfishness, but it's almost like my first ministry is to minister to myself as well. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if I don't take care of me, and of course I'll have people that take care of me, but if I don't take care of me and minister to myself, who's going to do it for me? You know?
I've always said it, and I've had to say it a few times in different friendships just to bring clarity to where we were. And it's just that if I'm looking out for you and you're looking out for you, who's looking out for me?
Right.
And when you say it just simply like that, then people say, oh man, I didn't even realize like that's what it appeared to be, or that's how you received it, or, you know. And that's why I say, like, for me, being able to have those tough conversations, because the good friendships that I have that are in my inner circle, they're not friendships that just slid in real easy all the time. Some of them are very easy, quick fixes, and they slide right in like puzzle pieces. But then there's other ones that have been here like over the years where we've had those tensions and we've had to talk through, like, what did I do to hurt you? You know, did I do something? Did I, mislead you somehow? Did I neglect our friendship somehow? And then be able to rebuild, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Those are the people that are in my inner circle. You know what I mean? Those are the people that I'm like, can we get in a fight and can we still be friends? Right. Can we have a disagreement and still be friends? Can we talk about politics and still be friends?
I was just going to say that. If you're not in my inner circle, my conversation about politics, about world news, things like that is going to be very surface level. I know I can have these conversations with the people that are in my inner circle because whether we agree or not, we're not out here trying to fight each other. We're trying to understand how the other thinks. Right. You know, and though that should be our intent in all our conversations, really, and all our friendships, it's not. No. You know, and so at least I know with my inner circle, if I'm thinking something about what I saw in the news, I can have that conversation freely and know that even if we disagree, we're not going to disrespect each other. We're not going to think differently of each other tomorrow because we didn't agree today. Like, we're just going to move on.
You and I have very different political views in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And so there's things that you agree with me and some things you don't agree with me and vice versa. But we can have the conversations and be respectful and not get into like fights about it, number one. And number two, we can just come back the next day and be like, okay, we talked about it, whatever, move on. But there's people that we cannot have those kind of conversations with because they are they're too passionate about their politics. Yeah. And then for me personally, I will, and this is another topic completely, but if we're not in my inner circle and you know how I feel and I think, though, even about politics, if you do something just to try to poke at me, or you try to do it just so that you can rattle me or whatever, we're going to have a problem. Because now you're using the information that you know about me against me, right? So even having conversation with people about abandonment or whatever, or rejection, if I've already told you this is something that I struggle with, and then all of a sudden you just get up and leave, I'm trust broken.
Right.
And that's another thing. You're in my inner circle, I have to be able to trust you.
Sure.
And for me, it takes a long time to trust people. I've had people come into my life that I have not let in immediately, and it actually took me years to trust them. And then I finally trust them. But if you break that trust with me, it's gone.
Yeah.
It will never be restored.
That's interesting. See, I'm the complete opposite. I believe that the only way I can know if I can trust you is to give it to you and let you keep it.
That's interesting.
Because the only way that I'll ever know is for you to be in a situation where I had to be able to trust you and you proved yourself. There's no other way to gain trust other than to be in a situation where you could have lost it.
Sure.
Right? So the way I see it is I'm going to give you all the trust up front. And maybe I'm not going to tell you all my nitty gritty details, but I'm also not going to like hide a conversation from you. If you happen to be there, I'm not going to be like, oh, we shouldn't have this conversation in front of them because they're not that close to the circle. You know, it is what it is. Once you've betrayed it, that's something that I have a very hard time forgetting.
Oh, I don't know. I can't. I'm not built that way. Once you lose my trust, it's gone. And you're no longer a part of my inner circle. It's maybe, some people may see that as unforgiveness. No, I forgave you and I let it go. And I'm able to be like, okay, we're cool, but you're never coming back in here.
Right.
Because I told you that this was the parameters. And I should be able to set a boundary and say, hey, this is my boundary. This is my inner circle. My boundary is if you cross this line,
right? If
you cross this trust circle, you're not coming back in. Those are my prerequisites to stay within the circle. And I've legitimately have never had anybody walk right into my circle. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm not saying the Lord can't change me. I'm not saying that I'm not teachable or whatever. I'm just saying as of right now, that's it. If I can't trust you, I'm not going to trust you again.
Yeah. No, I mean, people don't just walk right into my inner circle, but like when I think about it, I don't go into relationships weary of what may happen, unless, of course, I've heard something
like
from
suspicious
someone.
Or something.
Yeah,
sure.
then I'm still gonna give you an opportunity, but I'm gonna walk with caution, because that wasn't my experience. Right. I'm gonna still let you, be a part of my world, so to speak. Not that it's anything special, but I'm going to let you be a part of it until you show me that you can't be and that you can't be trusted in here, So I don't really worry about it from a trust perspective.
Yeah. Guys, we're literally doing my podcast in my house, so you can hear the children screaming in the background, even though they know we're doing a podcast.
But here's the thing. They're in there being friends because these guys have been friends since they were like 2 years old. Yeah. So if I wasn't over here tonight, Noah would be asking me, why did we not go to Mama Funk's house on Wednesday night?
I'm Mama Funk, by the way. I don't know why, but maybe because I'm funky.
She couldn't say your name when she was younger,
I know.
So that's what she came up with.
Yeah, she can't say Malai, but she can say Mama Funk.
She can now. She just refuses.
Yeah, she refuses. No, but that's just one of the things that are really important for me, like, is trust. If I know I'm trusting you and I'm telling you something, this is another rule that I put on myself as well as other people. But if you are trusting me and you're telling me something directly, and I feel like this is something you wouldn't want me to share, or even if I feel like you would, I will not share it with anybody else, because that's part of the trust, right? Right. Unless I ask, hey, can I share this with someone else, kind of situation, right? Sure. Or unless the person makes it obviously public. Like, I have this problem and it made it public. Obviously, now I'm able to. But it's so easy, especially as women, to enter into the realm of gossip. Yeah. If we are not careful with that trust thing. But for example, if I tell you something and then I hear it outside from someone else. And then I heard it repeated, and I'm like, this person's talking about stuff that I've talked to them about. They should not have come out of that circle.
Right.
And my trust is already broken at that regard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get you. I mean, like I said, with trust is just a tricky thing, and so many people have so many different perspectives on trust. Some people say, I'm going to make you earn it before I give it to you. I'm just one of those people that believes with trust specifically, there's no way to earn it without being in a situation that requires you to have the opportunity to break my trust.
Right.
And you didn't. That's how you supposedly earn it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't really think you can earn trust. All you can do is keep it. That's why my mindset to it is different. It's like, in order to earn it, you have to have been able to break it.
Yeah.
In order to be able to break it, I had to have given it to you.
Sure.
So that's why I let people in. I let them show me who they are. My goal for 2026 is I'm going to believe you the first time you show me.
My husband says that all the time. Like, if people show you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
I hate it because I'm like, I don't know. I feel like maybe in that regard, I will give a lot of grace to people. And then I see how they really are, but I still give them more grace and more grace and more grace until I get to a point that then I'm hurt because of something that happened.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, now I believe you.
Yeah.
And I'm no longer choosing to associate myself with you in that regard, or I'm protecting my inner circle. I'm protecting my boundaries in order for me not to continue to get hurt by you in that regard.
Yeah.
I will say, like, even within friendships, I've gotten hurt, but I've allowed them to stay there. It's when the trust is broken and the loyalty is broken that you were out.
Yeah.
If you hurt me, that's a different story. But you best know that I'm gonna address the situation. You hurt me, maybe not immediately, because I'm the type of person that when I get hurt, I have to process how it happened. How did I get here? And then we'll have the conversation, because if I have the conversation right away, you're gonna be hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I am gonna let you have it.
Sure.
And you're gonna know, and I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
But anyway, but in that regard, I think that's another thing. Even within friendships, like what I talked about, I think the friendship part is the community part, right?
Yeah.
But even the soul type part of it, like, part of the reason why it hurts so bad when friends hurt us is, again, because they have information about us. And if they use that information against us, it hurts even more, because now the loyalty and the trust are broken together.
Right.
And then we feel broken because that person used that information incorrectly.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. It makes sense. It's sad. It happens. You know, I think people make mistakes, because, man, I think about all the mistakes that I made. Just in life in general, right? Like, I've made tons of mistakes. So when things happen, I always try to go there first. Right? I'm always going to give you a second chance. And honestly, in a lot of ways, I'm going to give you a second chance even when the trust is broken, though it's a lot harder, because then you're always second guessing. Like, and that's why for me, lying is such a big deal. You know, with the kids that I'm around, I tell them, like, if you lie to me, then I can't trust you. And if I can't trust you, you can't be in my house. Right? Because if you'll lie to me, will you steal from me? I don't know. Like, now you've given me all these questions I would never have had to think about.
Right.
All because you were afraid of the punishment of telling the truth, or,
Right.
you know, whatever the case may be. But lying, I don't know if that's a childhood trauma or something. Lying really gets under my skin.
Same.
And it is really hard for me to work through.
Oh, no. I tell my kids all the time. I'm like, I say it, I know it sounds bad saying this, and some of y'all are maybe going to be in the comments, like, reprimanding me, but I tell them, I'm like, I hate liars. I hate, especially because I know you are lying. And so it really irks me, and it gets, like you said, gets under my skin. But I will address liars immediately.
Yeah.
That's one thing about me that you're not going to get grace about.
Yeah.
If you lie to me in my face and I know you're lying, I'm going to call you right out. I can't.
I think for me, the thing about lying is, like I said, I'm loyal to a fault, and I will defend you till I got no breath left in my lungs. But the absolute last thing I want to happen is to be defending you like my life depends on it. And then it turns out I got egg on my face because you've been lying the whole time.
Yeah.
Or the whole point of the argument was based off of a lie you did in fact tell.
Right.
Now
Right.
I'm looking crazy.
Yeah, you're defending a liar.
And when I defend, you hurt her feelings. Maybe it's time I hurt yours. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause, you know what I mean? I'm going to do it for them. I'm going to be brutally honest if if that's where you're going to go. But I don't want to do all of that and then find out that like I was wrong because you did lie.
Yeah.
But
I think even having these conversations is so important. Like, I know it sounds really bad, but like, I feel like we should talk about like our standards in our friendships. Like, this is my standard. I think we need to make it very clear to people. Like, hey, this is my standard. For example, I tell people all the time, I don't want liars. I need to be able to trust you. I need to be able to know you're gonna stay regardless of what happens. I mean, if there are seasons in life where, hey, you go and live in Baltimore and I live in whatever in Arizona, and we are miles apart, and obviously things kind of happen, and you're no longer in the same vicinity, same circle. Things happen. Yeah. Right. But even in that regard, if you want to stay connected to someone, you will, because it takes effort. Friendships takes effort, just like community takes effort. Friendships takes effort. Yeah. And if you want to stay connected, you will. But things happen, seasons happen, things change, life changes. Yeah. I get that. But if you're going to be in my inner circle and you're going to be intentional about being a part of my life, you need to know that about me. Right. Loyalty is a big deal. Yep. Trust is a big deal. I need to be able to trust that you are telling the truth. I need to be able to trust you with my heart. Yeah. Because one of the things that I've realized also, I don't know, maybe you think I'm crazy. I don't know. I feel like the closer you get to someone, the more that you see their weaknesses and their shortcomings, and it can either make you love them more or it can make you look at them as weak. Sure.
I don't know about weak, but it's crazy because when my mom passed, my mom was my best friend. And I remember like processing through a lot of feelings and emotions. And the one thing that I had the hardest time getting past was, man, she got the absolute worst version of me. Like so many people, she would come to me and say, oh, I met this person at church. They couldn't stop talking about how much they love you and this, that, and the other. And I remember like I would reflect back on those conversations and just think to myself, man, my mom got the worst version of me, the least patient, the least kind, because she was my space of comfort. So when I was feeling frustrated, I knew this is where I could let out. When I was angry, this is where I could let out. But thank God that she was one of those people who understood that that's exactly what that was, because I was also very kind and very patient, but still looking back, all you see is like the what ifs I should have done, And so I remember thinking to myself, man, she got the worst version of me. And then I started looking at like some of my other close friendships, and I'm like, that person has definitely seen my anger more than anyone else should have. And maybe I need to correct that in how I proceed in the future. Sure. Because they do. The closer you are, the worse version you get, because this is where you can let loose. Sure. Without fear of repercussion.
If I can say this, I saw a video like on TikTok or somewhere. This pastor was talking about why it's hard for people. They're like, what did he say? He said something about you don't want your pastor to be your friend.
Right.
Did you see that video?
Yes, I did.
I don't remember everything that he said, but I'm like, this is very interesting because I was thinking of that. Yeah. I'm like, one of the reasons why people can't be friends with their pastors sometimes is because then they see their humanity. Right. And for a lot of people, we've created this culture in the church where we equate pastorship to like a higher level, like
perfection.
Perfectionism.
Like they got it all together if they're going to talk to me about it.
Right.
They better have it all together if they're going to talk to me about it.
Exactly.
That's
exactly. That's what it is. We expect them to be at a higher level of supremacy of everything. Like you better be good at finances if you're going to talk to me about giving. You better be good at keeping your children at bay if you're going to be talking about, ministering to your sons and daughters. You better be good at deliverance. You better be free if you want to talk about deliverance to me. So we expect them to be all this perfection, which is a different conversation, but at the same time, it's the same thing, because I think about friendships. My husband and I have been pastors for a long time, and we have not allowed people into our circle since we got married. Not many people. But there's been people that have been in our circle that when they notice our humanity, they leave. Or they treat us differently. They treat us like we are lesser than.
Yeah.
Because now they're seeing our shortcomings. Sure. And that's part of also the whole friendship situation. Because everybody wants to be friends with the pastor until you see who they really are.
Right.
And I'm not talking about sin issues. Hear me. I'm not talking about, they're doing sin things or they're embezzling money behind the background. Like, that would be a crazy thing to go through. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Just even little things. Like, I complain. I do. Kathy knows.
I know she does.
But I'm trying not to. I am working on my complaining, okay? Because I can't be complaining and praising with the same mouth, right? Don't stop shaking your head. She's doing it in the background, but I still put it on there. No, but there's things about me that I know that I need to change. But the whole point of me saying this is, in friendships, we need to understand that we are friends because God put us together. We are on assignment.
Right.
Your friends are your assignment. Sometimes we want to go preach the gospel to the world, but we don't preach the gospel to the people next to us. Sometimes we want to go and do deliverance to everybody else. We want to do this and this and this and this and that. But what about the people God assigned to you? I do not believe in coincidences. I don't think there's any coincidence in the kingdom. Yeah. God brings you people for a reason.
Sure.
And God connects you to people for a reason.
Yeah.
I legitimately believe that.
Right. Yeah, no, I think sometimes we forget, though, like, I work in insurance. Does that mean I don't make mistakes when I'm driving? I mean, I try not to.
Some of y'all insurance people probably don't know how to drive either.
I'm saying, like, I try not to, right? And I try not to because of the things I've seen because of my work. But it doesn't mean that I am going to be perfect and I'm going to make all the right decisions. As a matter of fact, when I first got into the industry, I saw decisions people were making, like, you work here and you see this stuff and you're still making these kinds of decisions? God. Like, this is crazy. You got the worst insurance you could possibly have, but you see how that's going to affect you should something happen? Like, how are you making these decisions? When we call up to Chase Bank, you know, to ask them a question about what's going on our account, we don't say, hold on, before I ask you how I can improve my credit score, can you tell me what your score is first? We don't do that. We just trust that they're in this position because they're qualified and that they're going to give us the information that we need because that's what their responsibility is. But then when we come to our pastor, we have a whole different perspective on it.
Right.
You know, and that shouldn't be the case. If anything, we should come in with this extra measure of grace, because with that, you know, not pedestal, that would be the wrong word. With that platform. With the shepherdhood? Yeah, with the platform and the responsibility, there's bigger attacks. There's more opportunity to fall. Absolutely. And less room for error. Yeah. You know? Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, I mean, even I see friendships in such a different light, even in that regard. And I think that's part of the reason why I've been guarded my entire life. Because I'm like, if they see who I really am, would they run? Would they leave? Will they stay? Will they correct me? I mean, it's not wrong to correct a person, but will they feel like I'm less than because they see my humanity? It's such a weird feeling. I'll just say that. But even in the area of whether it's friendship, whatever, in the ministry, what are some boundaries that you have set for yourself in the area of friendship? Do you have any?
I was going to say, I might be the wrong person to ask about this because I lack boundaries. And maybe not that I lack boundaries, but I don't usually know what they are until they're crossed or until you get too close to it. And then I'm like, hold on. I'm not comfortable with that, you know, not comfortable where we are, which is why being able to have those tough conversations is important, because when I recognize it, I have no problem with saying like, hey, this is a boundary for me. I didn't realize it until recently. So I'm not going to hold against you that you got really close to it or you crossed it, because I didn't even set it, right? I wasn't clear.
You got too much grace.
Yeah, I wasn't clear, but you know, now that I know this is a problem, Please don't let that happen again.
Like what?
Gosh, I don't know. I feel like I don't have a lot of scenarios where we had that. But I mean, I guess maybe the best one would be I had a situation where one of my longtime friends, I consider them family. I've known them since I was like not even 13 years old, right? They did not
Now that
get
you're
along.
60, that's a long time.
Shut your face. You will always be 1 year older.
Whatever.
But they did not get along with someone who was newer to my life, but had done absolutely nothing wrong. And we had a great little friendship happening, nothing too deep or whatever, right? But they didn't get along with each other. And one of my boundaries is being the person who's friends with you both, you will not disrespect each other in my presence. That is a firm boundary that I have. I'm cool with you being friends with somebody who doesn't like me, but I would hope that if they were being disrespectful, you would nip that in the bud. Because now they're forcing you to choose. You're choosing by not saying anything. Okay. You know? So I just sat down and I told them both, listen, this is kind of a new space for me. So here's what's not going to happen. You feel some sort of way, you need to have a conversation. You can share that with me and know it's not going to go anywhere else. Same thing on this side. But what will not happen is you will not be disrespectful and you will not try to pit me against the other one. As soon as you do that, you've made my choice for me and it's not you.
Oh, dang.
So.
All right, Kathy. So if I get in a fight with someone and I make you choose. No, it's ridiculous. But I think it's important to have boundaries even within the friendships because I'm in a different point of my life, right? For example, I'm married. I have children. I have to put my kids to bed. They got to go to school. I got things that I have to do. I have to work. I have to do this. So I can't be on the phone with people 24/7 either. That's one thing I'm really bad at saying. I'm bad at saying no to people, especially when they need help. I'm bad at setting like time boundaries or anything like that. It's something I'm working on just because I think over the years, part of the reason why I've also gotten hurt is because I've not vocalized my boundaries.
Right.
And so they've crossed lines. But I'm like, but I didn't tell them that I had the boundaries. So how am I gonna? Yeah. But once you realize it, you can be like, hey, we're not doing this. You know, there's things we're not gonna talk about. You're driving me crazy. I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm done. You're not gonna be calling me at 1 o'clock in the morning unless you're dying. And then I'll obviously, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like then I will answer phone, of course. But so there's unspoken things that obviously other people know. Like you're not gonna call me at 1 in the morning. Right. Number one, because you probably would have already been asleep.
I was in bed before you.
Yeah.
So there's that. My boundary is don't call me, text me.
Oh, you don't like to be called?
I don't like talking on the phone. I talk on the phone all day for work.
Kathy, I can't call you on the phone, Kathy.
No, send me voice messages and stuff. That's cool. But like, I don't even know what the ringtone is on my phone. Isn't that wild? Like I've had my phone for I don't know how long. I don't even know what the ringtone is. If it rang, I wouldn't know it was my phone.
That's really sad. No, but you understand. Like it's okay. I will say this out loud. It's okay for you to set boundaries with your friends. Yeah. I think it's healthy to set boundaries with your friends. I think it's unhealthy when you don't have any boundaries with your friends. When they're literally all over you all day long, when they're calling you all day long, when they literally want to be just on top of you all the and that sounds bad me saying that, but you know what I'm saying? Like they're all over. Like you would become their life, you become their God. You become their everything. I think that's very unhealthy. Yeah. And it shows a lot of immaturity. It's almost, I would say, attachment anxiety. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it's called. Sure. So I think it's really, if you do have boundaries, it's okay for you to vocalize them and tell someone, hey, this hurts me, or this is something that I really don't want to do again, or whatever. It's okay. Why do we have such surface level friendships nowadays that we cannot tell a person, hey, this bothers me, and then they not get hurt because of that? I'm going to say this, like it took a long time for me to mature in the area when people would tell me, hey, what you did hurt me. I took it personal because it is, but I took it so personal that I almost internalized it. And that's how I became hurt by the person, because now I'm looking at their flaws. But what about what you did? And
Almost like you took it as a personal attack rather than just like,
Exactly.
you know, hey, I'm just letting you know this happened so that it doesn't continue or it doesn't get worse. It's like, no, they shots fired. And now I'm going to start paying attention.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you're going to keep account of
Yeah.
things that are happening. See, I don't want to ever have that kind of attitude towards anybody. Oh, because they did this, now I want to do that. But I will say this. I unintentionally do have that kind of brain.
Yeah.
I
hear you.
remember everything.
I do too.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, I'm not trying to keep account of your flaws and faults, but my brain automatically does it. And it's not because I'm trying to keep it in me so I can use it against you. It's because my brain just works that way. My brain just remembers everything.
Oh, me too.
You know what I mean?
And my brain remembers, like,
Details.
I recognize patterns. I recognize when someone else's pattern changes, and I start looking like, I wonder why that changed. Like, if you've always called me on your way home from work, and then all of a sudden those calls become less and less frequent,
Yeah.
I'm starting to ask questions because you have a pattern. If you always respond this sort of way, you know, or you always talk on the phone, but now you're always texting instead, I'm like, who are you around that you don't want to hear this conversation? Because usually you want to be on the phone.
Yeah.
You know, I recognize patterns, and I can't tell you how many situations I've been in where I've just said, hey, I notice your patterns are changing.
What happened?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Some of them were caught in lies. That's how I figured out that there were
Dang.
lies that were happening, was because patterns changed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Our pattern changed.
Sure.
You know, we have a cadence to our friendship.
Sure.
And that started to switch up, or whatever the case may be, you know?
Yeah. Is
And once I
there
see
something
it-
you have to tell me? 'Cause I'm just kidding.
Once I see it, like, I can't unsee it. And it's gonna, you know, actually this year in 2026, one of the things that I'm doing is writing down how I feel, because I recognize that I can obsess over a feeling. Because sometimes I feel something and I'm like, I think that might be kind of petty. So then I don't even want to talk to my inner circle about it, because I feel petty. I'm a little embarrassed by how I feel,
Sure.
you know, and then it cycles through my brain 1,000 times, you know?
That's what mine is.
And so now I'm like, let me see if writing it down gets it out of my brain so I don't obsess about it.
Sure.
Because then now I'm looking for patterns. You know what I mean? I'm going to figure this thing out.
No.
You
no.
know?
I get it.
So,
No, I'm the same way. And then for me specifically, I'm a feeler. What I mean by that is I know it sounds weird. And for some people, it's going to be like, oh, anyway, I can feel other people's emotions. Whether you're near or far. You don't have to even be at arm's length for me to be able to really to feel what is going on. Make sense? And so I can tell when people are angry, when they're heavy, when they're burdened, when they have something against me. Like, I can feel it. And so it's really hard to navigate in that regard, even in friendships, because I'm like, should I address it? Should I leave it alone? Should I allow them to process whatever's happening? So that for me has been a struggle, you know. But like I said, I get why people don't want to invest in friendships, because it's literally that. It's an investment. It's an actual relationship. We invest more. We talked about this before, but we invest more in our romantic relationships than we do in our friendships. And it's pretty much the same thing without the physical touch, right? It's not romantic, like, you know, but at the same time, but it takes the same amount of effort to keep a relationship than it does to keep a friendship. And for the most part, people don't want to invest in them because they know it's a lot of work.
yeah.
And they rather just not bother with it. But then at the end of the day, then you're alone
Yeah.
and you have no one and you have nothing. And then we were created for community. We were created for friendship. We were created for this. And so at the end of the day, when you have nothing, then you start struggling with, I feel lonely, I feel broken, I feel this, I feel that, because of it.
Yeah.
You know? So it's important that we invest in our friendships, but it's important for us to know what kind of friendships we want to have. And I think it's okay for us to have a conversation like, hey, this is what I desire from you. You and I have also talked about this, the 5 love languages, and we're gonna end really soon here because we don't want to have a hour conversation, and my kid got to go to bed. But we talked about the 5 love languages. We only apply it when it comes to relationships, like romantic relationships. But the reality is we can apply the 5 love languages to anything, right? Our children, our friendships. It's important for us to talk with our friends and be like, okay, what is your love language?
Yep.
How can I learn to love you? Because it is what it is. A real friendship is you loving someone else.
Yep.
Not in a romantic way, but in what is it? Agape?
Yeah, I think agape is
Eros, agape. Right. I think it's like agape, right? How can I love you better?
Yeah.
You know, especially if you're going to be in my inner circle, like I need to learn how to love you the way you want to be loved, not just the way that I want to be loved.
Yeah.
Right. You and Val give each other, what is it called? Sour Patch Kids. That's the way you guys
do. Yeah. Sour Patch Kids, iPhone text games, and then quite often I ring the chimes on the drum set for her. But yeah, you know, I think when it comes to love languages, we forget the word languages. That's what it is. It's love languages. So if it makes you feel weird saying love language with your friend, hey, what speaks to you? Does time speak to you? Does gifts speak to you? Does acts of service speak to you? What speaks to you?
Yeah.
Like, how can I make sure that I'm speaking the same language that you are?
Right.
That's all that it is.
Yeah. But it's important.
Yeah.
Because like for example, we've done a lot of like marriage counseling. I think I've been on the phone with more than my life. I don't even know. I should start putting a time clock of how much I spend on the phone talking to people. Not a bad thing, but I'm saying because I'm always talking about different, like I'm talking about friendships, relationships, I'm talking about marriages. But the amount of times that I've had conversations with people about their marriage, and I'm like, well, what's her love language? What's his love language? And they're like, well, I don't really know. And I'm like, how have you been married all this time if you never ask yourself or ask them what their love language is? And that's usually where the rubbing and the miscommunication happens, when people don't know how to love the other person the way they want to be loved, not just the way you want to love.
Right.
Just because I love a certain, like my love language is quality time, words of affirmation. I think that's the order. Words of affirmation, acts of service, physical touch. Then at the end is gift giving. Not that I don't like gifts. I love gifts. But
They just speak less to you.
yeah, out of the list, that's the ones. What about you?
Quality time would be number 1. Number 2 would be somewhere between words of affirmation and acts of service. Gift giving, as far as how I receive it, not necessarily high on the list. The only thing I have attached to gift giving is the thought you put into the gift. The gift itself means really nothing, but the effort and the thought is what matters. So that I think goes into words of affirmation almost, and quality time, because you got to put time and effort into that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think ultimately, like when we have conversations like this, where we're talking about friendships and things like that, it's really just to challenge people, right? Like, hey, take a look at your friendships. Have you set any boundaries? Like me, like I don't even know what those boundaries are. That's something I need to be intentional about determining. What are some of my boundaries? Yeah. You know, maybe you don't know how you receive love. Yeah. Take some time and reflect on that, because 100%. You can't expect your friends to love you in a way that speaks to you if you don't even know what speaks to you. 100%. You know, so you gotta take the time, figure out what kind of friendship is it you do want. What kind of friendships do you absolutely not want? What are your deal breakers? Yeah. What are things you can live with? You know, and then evaluate, because sometimes what happens is we have a friend in the outer circle that really should be in the inner circle. And sometimes we have a friend in the inner circle that really should not be in the inner circle. And you'll only know that when you know what your standards are. Yeah. And when you know what your boundaries are. And then you have the conversation and see what happens.
It's good. Yeah. So the reason why we even wanted to do this podcast, I'm like, I think that, like I said, I think it's important that we actually, number 1, figure out our love language. That's a good one. How do you want to be loved? Like, because I feel like I receive differently from different people. Mm-hmm. That makes sense? Depending on the friendship. Sure. I receive different things from different people. That's just the way my brain works. I don't understand, but it does. But it's good to have these kind of conversations. Like, hey, well, what makes you feel disrespected? Okay, what makes you irk? Because I want to know. And of course, we're going to get to that place eventually where you're going to press those buttons unintentionally.
Right.
But being able to have these conversations are important, and we'll do another podcast, but I really want to talk about toxic relationships and toxic friendships. Because in order for you to realize sometimes that you are in a good place or in a bad place, you need to realize what's good and what's bad.
Sure.
We talked about all the good stuff today, basically. Yeah. What does it look like to be in a toxic friendship?
Yeah.
So, and there's so much more we can talk about in friendships, like, like people pouring into you and you pouring back into them. Like, there should not be any selfishness in the relationship. It should be equal, right? It can't be like only one person pouring into one and then the other one just sucking you dry, right? That's part of the toxic relationship. Friendship, sorry. But anyway, we'll talk another time. What do you think? What are your non-negotiables? What are your boundaries? What are things in your life that you're like, hey, we're not going to do this? What irks you in friendships? Or what are things that have hurt you in friendships? I would love to know your discussions and below in the comments. But if you don't already follow us, which if you're watching this, you probably are seeing it, follow us, share, comment. We're going to continue to be more consistent with this, but I just wanted to let you guys know that we're back. Hopefully we're going to continue to, do this, but that's going to be my goal. We're going to bring one out at least every week. I'm going to do one, whether it's with someone or here or there, wherever, but follow us on Save a Savage. Let's have real conversations. Let's be honest in our conversation and let's change whatever we're doing. All right. God bless you guys. Bye.